Is it okay if we do this hoof evaluation live? I suppose. I guess so. Okay.
Sorry, I just not sure. I didn't ask the permission of the owner, but I guess, I mean,
Well,
it's for the benefit of the horse, and it's no name basis.
yeah, no
really.
names or anything, so
Yeah,
it should be all right.
yeah.
Oh gosh, now let me answer this phone call. I'm sure it's a telemarketer. Okay, all right. Well, it is Hoof Chat Tuesday. How long have I been doing this Hoof Chat? It used to be on Thursday, right? I called it Hoof Chat Thursday, and now I've been doing it on Tuesdays. How long? A couple of years?
It started before 2018 because it was going when I started in summer of 2018.
Okay, so I've been doing Hoof Chat Tuesdays, right?
It was Thursday evening when I started, Tuesdays
Yeah.
for the last, what, couple, 3 years maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, no kidding. I found somebody who calls their business the Happy Hoof and does a what do they call it? Talk Tuesday. Can you believe that? Isn't that amazing?
The nerve.
What a coincidence, huh? Yeah, only they charge you $5. All right, to join. Yeah, the nerve.
Linda, I would pay that. You can do it. Just tell us. I would just do it.
I would too.
Just do it. I mean, we all can, I think, put $5 for this month, Really.
Well, I was thinking about just doing a small charge for each series, like doing like whatever the series numbers I'm doing, what is it, 7-8 weeks, or something like that, but we'll see. But anyway, that wasn't the point. The point was, is that a coincidence? You know what I'm saying? And stuff. Of course, they're up in Canada and stuff, and I'm pretty sure I've seen them before a long time ago when they first started out and started calling themselves Happy Hoof. Because I saw the same person just totally butcher a horse and take the heels out like on a really nice set of feet, and so I was pretty upset about the trim. But anyway.
So, Linda, do you mind if I offer you some advice in that realm?
What?
When we were talking, when you were talking about, writing your book, your manual, whatever, for whatever, you really, really, really need to get that copywritten.
Yeah. Well,
because I'm sorry. I've been in the publishing industry. I've had my own freelance writing business and editing and all that stuff.
Really?
People will steal from you left, right, and center. And the only way to avoid it is to copyright everything.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Hoof Care is known for it.
The whole horse industry is known for it. It's horrible. I was just trying to protect you from that because you've done so much research and you really need to get credit for it.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing, whether I get credit or not, if they actually steal the truth instead of just doing a kind of a copycat thing and then still butchering the horse, as I used to do as well. All right, then that'd be great,
Well, that's great for the horses, but that's not great for the industry, and it's not great for you. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I think
totally makes sense.
I think that's a very great idea that you have. It's like so altruistic and everything. That I'm old enough to have figured out that altruism isn't as great as it, because especially even with in the hoof trimming stuff, all of these different protocols get bastardized. You know what I'm saying? And when you finally get your protocol out there and you finally have it all documented and everything, then it really, really, really should be copywritten and published, right? And I'm talking honest to gosh, publishing to everywhere, not just making your own little book. Because then that way, no one can actually, I'm sorry, I don't know what else, other word to use. No one else can bastardize your protocol and you get the blame for it, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about there.
Okay, and
You
then
know.
that's just my piece of advice.
I
for
like
you.
that word bastardize.
Well, that's the only word I could come up
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. It just means illegitimate. You know,
Exactly.
that's all. You know, that's funny. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna look here at whose foot were we gonna look at? Oh my goodness. Are you still there? Elena?
Yes, Elena is here.
Elena?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. See, you know why I was doing that? Because I'm a horrible person with names, right? And so I'm looking at your name and I'm reading it, and I'm reading it as Elena, but it's Elena, and I should know that because I'm just a horrible person.
Oh, really?
Okay, I'm just a horrible person. I obviously don't care about anybody because I can't pronounce people's names. So
You can call
now
me
you know.
whatever, you know, let's
Now you
get
know
home
the
with that.
Okay, Elena, I should know how to pronounce your darn name by now. You're a beautiful, wonderful, fabulous person, and I'm just a piece of dung.
Don't you
Okay,
worry, please.
okay. See, I think I've told people before I have this paranoia weird thing about people's names. You know,
I also don't remember people's names, and I always make mistakes and confusions and stuff. So it's not important.
well, okay, like Angeliki. Okay, I'm always afraid to pronounce her name.
Angeliki.
Because I'm afraid it's gonna be wrong. Okay, just call her my angel. Because that's what the word means, you know, messenger, angel. That's where we get the word angel. All right. Okay, dogs. Dogomania going on here. Okay, Elena.
Yes.
I'm going to do what you sent me there. And I'm gonna like get rid of my paranoia here. Okay, let's see here. I'm lost. Screen share. Just a second. For some reason, oh, okay, there we go. I had to miniaturize that screen. All right, so I'm going to Facebook. I'm going to screen share. I'm going to enlarge this. Okay, good, that worked. Now I'm going to screen share, and we're going to do this hoof evaluation on a horse that one of our viewer members here is trimming, and there has been a problem. So we're going to see if we can look at it and tell what it is that's wrong. So
Linda, is there somebody that's not muted? There's a lot of background noise.
Oh, probably. Oh, there they must. Okay, there we go. All right, so okay. So okay, just a second here. We're just gonna flip on here and look at these feet. And this is what where the foot is at right now. This is July 6th, 2023. I just don't know about these puppies in here wrestling around.
No, this is not
no. This is not the horse. Okay. Is he sore in all feet or
no? Just the left front. This is the left front.
The left front.
And they paid the greens too.
But you remember, Linda, this is the horse, this is the quarter horse gelding that we were discussing, I think, earlier, like when I took him on, he was falling over with the owner.
Oh, hold on. Let me find out who's not muted here.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're okay now. Okay, say that again, dear. Sorry.
In my comments, I wrote, we actually were discussing this horse, I think in February.
Okay.
It's a quarter horse gelding who was falling over with his owner and actually on the canter.
Yeah. Well,
And,
you can see why looking at that foot. I mean, low heel, long toe.
yeah, so he even was falling on his knees several times when he walked in the sand at walk.
Wow. See, that's interesting. He's fallen on his knees.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of Bracy Clark. I'm reminded of Bracy Clark right now and what he wrote about what the farriers were doing to the feet was
Carriage
causing
horse,
the horses, carriage horses to stump. Well, not just carriage horses, riding horses too.
Yeah.
And how they were stumbling and falling and hurting people. I mean, that's dangerous, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's look here.
I mean, it doesn't look pretty, and we had very dry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Very dry.
It looks better than a lot of feet. You know what I'm saying?
Obviously, it would be helpful to have the X-rays, but I don't have them yet.
Yeah.
The owner noticed lameness on the 10th of June.
10th of June. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, you trimmed the last time on July 6th?
Yes. I didn't touch the sole, as you can see. I just touched the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Because the foot hasn't been washed, I think. So you can see actually where I was working.
Mm-hmm.
I smoothed the bars. I cleaned a little bit the seat of corn, and I did a slight, I just beveled it basically.
Mm-hmm. So did they actually see damage to the navicular bone?
That's what I didn't get from the owner. She said inflammation and navicular syndrome, but because, she doesn't know anything about the hoofs. So I need to talk to the doctor really. And even I think if there is a damage to the navicular bone, it
happened from before, not from what you trimmed.
It's not coming from the trim. That's what my position. It just can't.
Yeah,
happen.
It isn't, or all the other feet would be affected too.
And in terms of the inflammation, I believe it could be maybe happening because something moved in the foot.
Yeah.
Because we had a rain spell, maybe because there's so many factors.
Oh, there you go.
That are involved. If the foot will get too much moisture and it's, the stability will be compromised. What I advised her to buy a boot, or I can cast the foot with dental material just to make the horse comfortable, because I don't want the horse to develop ulcers because of the foot pain.
Yeah.
That's what my advice.
Is this okay? Is this a front or what foot is this?
It is left front.
Left front. Okay.
Yes. And what is interesting, his right front is kind of worse in terms of the balance. It's more wonky.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually surprised, but they told me the left one. I was expecting it to be right. And he was falling down when he was asked to change from the left canter to the right.
Oh my goodness. See, that'll kill somebody.
Well, the owner actually had an accident with some broken bones. Yeah, last time.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see why. Oh, the whole hoof capsule, the quality, everything of the horn looks better.
Well, he has rings, but you kind of can expect them when the hoof is changing, I guess.
Well, yeah.
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 And like the previous page before the July 6th, it's a May picture and he had more moisture and you can see that it's kind of pinky and swollen up.
Over here.
Yeah. But then it disappeared, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Elena, may I ask you something?
Yes, please.
Do you know if the horse get a vaccine in
The
that
what?
time? A vaccine.
That's a good question to ask. I
Because
don't know.
I have a horse. It was incredible lame on one feet, and she was not sore. We put the irons down, and she is very comfortable. And then after 1 week, she got a vaccine and she get antibiotica. I don't know the word in English. Antibiotica for eye inflammation.
Yes.
And after that, it was incredible lame. She
And
cannot walk.
did you make an X-ray? Was it inflammation in the hoof?
No, we don't, because the hoof was not warm or not hot. And the horn is a very good quality. So I told her after a 1 hour discussion, and we find out, okay, she get the vaccine and she get that antibiotica for the eye inflammation on the same day. That wasn't too much for her. So she get boots and a very soft inlay and another surface where she can walk on. And then it took 2 weeks and everything was gone. Maybe you can ask.
Well, this horse is still lame, you know, so it's quite a long time from the 10th of June, I would say.
Okay.
But I will ask. It's a good thing to collect information for sure. Thank you.
On the progression, so this is when you first started, right?
Yes.
And what is this here?
This is February.
Okay, so January, February.
This is
May, and this is July.
Yeah.
Okay. What I see, first of all, I see some really good things in that the frog has shortened up and the toe has come back beautifully and the frog looks much better. Okay. But I also see that it expanded, and I'm not saying this is the reason it's lame. I'm just saying overall, okay, is that these heels need to be reset. And see if, you know how I'm always talking about this piece right here?
Yes.
That, okay, all this is wanting to come back and push these heels back.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's getting stuck right here.
Yeah.
All right. Because you see how it was all coming back, all this looks good, and then all of a sudden this number happened and everything got stuck there.
They're kind of squishing out. So what you're saying, the heels being pushed out, and that could be creating the pressure also internally.
Yeah, it could. Everything's wanting to move back, and it can't. You know, this area gets high and we don't see it.
Yeah, that's interesting. So
and
you see, the tubules are pushing back and they just meet resistance and they're kind of accumulating. They're trying to push back.
Yeah, and like right here, well, look how they pushed out on both sides. So that is going to cause inflammation. And that is going to cause pain.
I love it.
Every time that horse steps down, it's pressuring out like this, and so it's pulling the hoof wall away from the lamina.
Cool. I love it. Yes.
Yeah. Had to be divine intervention for me to figure that out. I'm just telling you.
Well, that would make sense, and it's actually easy
Sorry.
to be helped. Could you make like draw on it? Or on
Yeah.
the lateral view or on this view?
Yeah.
Is it like a bevel I
See
should
here?
make? Yeah,
See there how the heel wants to stay forward? And
yeah,
because it's getting stuck right
Yeah.
there.
yeah.
And so the horse is stepping down and look, see this brown color?
Yeah,
That is always a sign of laminate and inflammation. Here, it would be kind of old too, because, well, it's red, but then when it turns brown,
mhm,
you know, see that, yeah, that makes, because look, you didn't really have it here. A
mhm.
little bit right there, there's a little, ditty and stuff. But then look, see that brown color. When you see them brown colors start showing up, something's moving in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because really it's the color of dried blood, right? These and you see this on hooves and on feet. My whole foot, when the frogs started moving, turned brown on the sole, on the frog, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's just look here at more.
Because if you look at the caudal pictures, then it kind of corresponds to what you're saying.
Look at the what?
If you look at the caudal view, the back I sent you, then it makes sense what you're saying.
Okay, caudal.
Yeah.
This one?
Well, this one and plus the other one. This is the tilt view, but you can see here that how expanded the cartilages are on the last picture. And then it makes sense with everything you're saying. I need to send you one more picture, actually.
Okay.
So,
see, because the foot is tilted forward right here, you can't see that this little area is high. But I guarantee you, if you were to just tip this foot back just a little, okay, you're going to see that this area is going to be higher like that. I'll bet you. And it happens so subtly that you don't even realize that it's happening. And then all of a sudden it starts to flare. See, and it can jam up, it can flare. The horn tubules, a lot of things happen. Horn tubules in front are trying to move back because the toe is shortening up and everything gets stuck right there. So inflammation, well, that's in the rear of the foot, right? So they call it, for anything they really don't understand, they call it navicular syndrome.
yeah.
Okay. Or any caudal foot pain, caudal mystery foot pain.
I'm sorry, Linda, are you sharing any pictures? Because I see your book.
Oh, am I not sharing?
Oh, I don't know.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, I have it. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. See how it's, and then right here, look what it did. We learned something. Like, even though I know this has been going on, okay, I still, when I trim, except I'm now trying to pay more attention to it, pay more attention to this area here. And remember, that's also the area where these horses chip out.
Mm-hmm.
Where they chip out and make that groove we're always looking for.
Yeah.
That self-trim groove. Because look, if you look at the heels here, you can see there's a slight bevel there. See, there was room. Now here it's just barely starting. But by over here, I'm sure all those horn tubules in front were coming back. Look how good everything is looking. Look how the bulbs were down. They're now up off the ground. And look, by the time you get over here, look at how where the top of the frog stay and the bulbs are coming out from underneath and up behind the foot. And this is looking good too. I mean, it's good that it has widened out. It needed to widen out because they're pretty contracted here, but see, everything was going good. It just got stuck as far as I'm concerned and course, you got to remember it. Everything we evaluate, that could be wrong. Okay, but this looks like what it could be. See, you can just see it stuck right there.
So what I need to do in the area, I just bevel it until the end?
Well, I don't know. Maybe make a little groove there.
Yeah.
See, because I've been thinking about this too. These hooks that develop on the heels on horses that self-trim, what would that have the effect of doing besides when a horse is putting his foot forward and it goes into the dirt and it digs into the dirt right there, would have the force maybe of pushing it back? You know,
I just wanted to tell you something. I just trimmed my mare before we started the call. And what is interesting, I think we looked last week at the previous chat at her feet. And again, you know, the platform of the false heel is higher than the tip of the platform. You know what I mean? It's like out and higher. And what you were saying about the tubules, that the foot is trying, like wants to move back, and almost like tubules accumulate and start pushing other tubules out to the side because they can't, there is no movement, they're stuck in that place.
They're stuck, yeah.
And that's why, you know, we have this, you trim the horse, you come back in 1 week and it's there again, and you're like, how that happened?
Well, yeah, and we want to make all this kind of level, you know, and so, but then when we get, and maybe it is all around here, pretty good, pretty decent, uniform kind of with the sole, but then you get into this area and it gets sticky, you know, it's like, well, what do I do here?
Yeah.
You know, because I can't take it down, or you don't think you can take it down right here. And so then you don't, and then it always turns into this. This is, I'm seeing this has been really common. You know?
Well,
do you have, oh, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Somebody was trying to say something, I think.
Oh, is somebody trying to say something? Feel free if anybody says, is anybody have anything to add?
Hi, Linda. I do have something to add, but it wasn't me who interrupted.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hi. So I've definitely got the situation in Eleanor's photo on the bottom right, where I've been so scared to touch anything kind of towards the back half of the foot. So Ellen's definitely got that sort of flaring out, and I missed last week's Hoof chat, but I watched the replay, and I heard you mention, like, if you see like a lift or a bow in the sort of hairline above, then that can also indicate like there's too much hoof material there and it's pushing up. So I'm just really interested. I heard you saying that if you sight the foot down, you can almost see if it's too high, but I'm very confused about how to really identify it and how to correct that.
Okay, well, you would look at the heel here and down to here, like you side it, and then you're just looking kind of over to the side, and you will start to notice that this actually is raised right here. I could probably find some pictures of my own trim. Just a minute here.
So if I put Ellie's foot like, and I point her toe sort of towards my knee so that I'm looking down her foot and it's sort of, I don't know, 45-degree angle to the ground. It looks all flat to me.
Yeah, so but you're not looking down the center. You're looking down the side. You need to look down the side. See, that's the difference, you know. You're not looking like from the center here out like this, because it will look flat. Okay, but if you tilt this, you will see that this actually it is raised slightly. It's just slightly at each trim, and gradually it just starts to flare out because it'll take the path of least resistance, you know, that excess wall, even if it's just a little, it's going to take the path of least resistance, and you know, if it can't push up, it's going to push out.
So how do you know how much to take down and how far back do you go? Because I'm so scared to touch anything around her heel area that I've just left everything. So I'm yeah, interested to know how much do you take down, and obviously you would I mean, my instinct would be to go flat and then to give it a bevel, but how far do you go? Are you going down to sole level?
Well,
or
the only part you don't want to take down is this area right here.
okay.
See, let's see if we can look at something else here.
I've always just felt that everything, even just a little bit in front of the heels, even though it's not like part of the heel, it's still helping push the top or the back of the foot up. So I'm like, I don't want to remove any material that's going to be helping. But that material is not really helping because it's just splaying outward.
Yeah, it's just splaying outward, and it actually keeps the heels from standing up.
Very interesting.
You know, it is really, well, see, it's like we were talking last week. A lot of things in these feet are just not right, no matter what. And so you're playing this juggling game, you know. But when you think about how these horses self-trim, they always break out that area first, right in front of the heel, you know.
Linda, can I just add something? Because I made an experiment and it's kind of in the works.
Okay.
I have a mare who couldn't pick up her hind feet at all because she was in foal. And the feet looked quite horrible, and they started to go to the sides. And after our previous hoof chat, you know, we were talking about these notchers and how they self-trim, but we have sand, so it can't really happen. So what I did, I just took a rasp and I put it on the ground and I beveled it, you know, just putting the rasp really close to the hoof standing on the concrete or a piece of wood. And then I made it thinner. So my kind of idea was that because the wall will be thinner, it will be easier for the wall to break.
That makes sense.
Where it needs to be broken.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you know what? I have done the same thing along the quarters, you know.
Yeah. And I couldn't pick her feet up, and then she made the notches. I just noticed it today.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just made the bevel, you know, really like millimeter, I don't know, maximum 5 millimeters. And she has really huge hoofs. But it made it easier for the hoof
to break it off.
It should break.
Yeah. Well, that's a good idea. When I said I've done that, I meant literally I did on purpose, like putting a foot on a stand and thinning down the quarters. I have done that at times, you know. You know, I'm kind of like other people too, you know. I'm thinking like, what should I do? What would be the best? How did I try this? You know, everything isn't static. I guess that means stationary. I guess static would be move around, use your words right. Trying different things, you know, because we're still learning so much about these feet. But I think on this foot, this is looking good here, but I think that I think it's that flaring. Let's see, I'm in the wrong spot. Go back.
I'll just try to find, and because you know I'll try to find another picture where we can side down.
Okay. Let's see here. Let me save that. I'm gonna.
And it's tricky, and I always tell the owners that you don't know sometimes what will be happening. Of course, you take great care and you try to foresee, but some things cannot be foreseen. It's just the things can flare up and come up, and you just need to be prepared to manage it. It's very important to be prepared to manage this stuff, like to manage painful situation and be prepared to have a boot. And yeah,
exactly. So I'm going to draw on this and you can show it to her. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Let me decide the color. I'll do this blue.
Actually, I have one picture from May 16th, and it has you can cite it basically better, and we'll send it to you.
Okay. I'll draw on this one real quick here. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so yeah, see, you can see the sole. Well, you can just show her how the walls are here. Oh. Let me move this thing. There we go. Okay.
May I say a hello to everybody and
Hi.
a very and a very big thank you to Marilyn that tried to help me. I'm locked out of every other of my accounts. I cannot enter anywhere, but I don't know how. I am in the Zoom now.
Well,
Congratulations.
Yeah, good for you.
Hooray.
I don't know what's going on, Linda. I don't have a Gmail anymore. I don't have a Google account anymore. But all of a sudden, I got into the Zoom.
Well, that's weird. Why would you get locked out of? Maybe Greece is doing something weird.
I don't know. Maybe my brain doesn't work. I don't know. Something happened anyway. I'll try to sort it out after the Zoom have finished.
It's their fault.
Anyway, I send a kiss to everybody because last Zoom I was really very angry. I couldn't be into.
Well, I'm glad you made it today.
Okay, let's go on now. Thank you, everybody.
I'm trying to.
Linda?
Yeah.
Hi, it's Maria from California.
Hi.
I have a question. Hi, so glad to be here. I have a question about the bars. Would the bars hold the foot in a forward position as well? Okay.
Yeah.
And
it's probably that too.
If you could address that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, it could be that too. In fact, it probably is because you probably have more bar here than what you think. And so maybe trim up some more of that bar as well. But definitely so the height here and then the bars as well. We'll see something here.
Linda, question about the bars. You see on the left, bottom left, the left side that bar is curved.
Just
the bottom left picture.
Right. Oh, right here.
Yeah. Right there. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you were to draw like when we map the bars and you cross to the other side of the apex, now that would mean that you would have to take quite a lot of that bar out, right? If you were to put a line there and map that. So just how much, when you have a curved bar like that, how much can you take? Can you correct it all at once? Or is this something you need to do a little bit at a time?
Yeah, it
Like,
would take out a lot, wouldn't it?
yeah. Would you be able to do that all at once?
Oh, I don't know. Like, oh yeah, you could do it all at once.
Yeah, you could straighten that bar on the left right out and it wouldn't hurt, wouldn't be like you'd have to go really low, right?
Yeah, but now, but this is an after trim, so you never did that, right?
I didn't, no.
No. So,
but you see on the other one, maybe I did. I just made, there is like, you can't really see it, but I see that the angle is steeper. So, and the bar doesn't look curved on the July 6th.
Right, it's straighter.
Because you see, when you are taking this type of bar, it's almost, the angle of the bar is like almost vertical. It's more steep than on the other side, right? So it kind of, it makes you like doubtful because it's stuck to the sole.
Yeah.
And there is no angle. So you like feel you're taking the sole out as well. And you're scared because it can damage the horse.
And that's exactly my situation with this little filly I have. Her heels are spread out and her bars are so laid over that it's like I have to take over an inch of bar down. And I'm thinking, ooh, I don't know if I should do that all at once or not.
I always like look for the black stuff, like cracks and stuff. And on, like, I also trimmed bars on the baby now. And I just try not to take the wall, but I take the bar. You know what I mean?
You mean you try not to take the sole, but the bar?
Yes, the sole. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there's really no problem taking that, if that whole amount right there, if you needed to, all at once in one trim.
I didn't come up with that.
I don't think we have enough data in yet and examples of befores and afters to be able to.
I can try it on my foal and see what it will happen. I mean, I can risk with my horses, no problem.
Well, see, but here's the deal. This horse's heels have been pulled under. And so his bars were bent upward into the foot. Okay. And now they're splattering out like that in its weird curved. So that's why they're curved.
Right.
Because they're bent. And so it makes them, difficult to trim. Well, then they smear over the sole and choke the sole out. And so
they
then
also push the side of the wall out too.
Yeah, and they can do that too. And they can also, like on my horse's feet that got very asymmetrical with the bar pushed out, then makes it hard to bring it back in.
Exactly. I'm in that little predicament right now.
Me too.
So, Linda?
Yeah.
When you're, I see, I've been messing with this for years. And in one of the hoof chats, we had mentioned scoring that bar where it curves, like along that blue line. I haven't had any success with that either.
Okay.
I mean, it's a big predicament for me. Like I said, I mean, I've been trying to get on the hind feet of a quarter horse gelding. Looks exactly, well, not exactly, but it's curved just like that picture we're talking about on the left corner. And so my predicament is when you start peeling that bar from the sole, how do you know when you're getting bar or sole? I mean, when it's that like mushed together, for lack of a better term. Like, how do you avoid the sole but get enough of the bar so it's not killing the sole underneath it? Well, the thing is that the bar laid over the sole is already killing it. So it's going to be thin because it's like grass. I've removed I've gotten to the point because see, everything is moving and your true
heel platform is covered up anyway. It's not in the correct place. That's why right here in this area, you can't just rasp a whole level foot and get a clean white line at the same level all the way around. Why. Oh, go ahead. What?
We were just talking about this curved bars, and I'm just looking at the feet, how they are. And if you look at the first picture, we need to look, and you always teach us to look as the internal foot is one, right? Mm-hmm. So everything grows together. Yeah. So if you look at the first picture, the January one, and you really follow the curves of the bar, and look how the hoof wall is on the medial side, it sticks out, it's longer. On the other side, the bar is also curved, but not so curved. And look at the frog. The frog is bending towards the medial side, right? It's like the frog where it goes together with the bulbs, it's being pulled because there is like a tag at the union point, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there is the curve in the frog. That's how it's growing. You see?
I see that. Yeah.
The whole foot is kind of twisted, following the pull created by the wear of the hoof wall on the medial side of the toe at the toe band. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you think about it, why it's happening, why the bars are behaving like this, it's, to me, you have to work in synergy with, you need to see the whole trim. You just can't say trim the frog and the bars because the wall is pulling. So we need to see, if we look at the last picture and July 6th, you need kind of to have the same attitude. You just have to look how the whole structure not just at the bars, not just at the frog. You need to imagine in your head one living organism that is following the rules of gravity and loading. And you see on the last picture, they straightened out, right? Because I was keeping the toe and the toe pillars in check. So the pull stopped, and whatever, the bars kind of straighten out, but then the situation changed because the back of the foot wanted to go back, and that's what we have, this congestion of the tubules in the quarters, the heel quarters. And now we have this problem because I overlooked and I didn't control so much that area, because we need to leave it all the time, and we didn't. You need to pay extra attention to the platform. You see? So I was controlling the front of the foot, overlooking the back.
So Elena,
so now, and if we are just considering, if I would be aware of it more at the beginning of the trim, then probably that could be avoided. You understand what I mean? For me, it's difficult to explain.
I do understand.
Like it grows at the same time, and all parts of it, they influence one another, and it's a juggling stuff. But you really have to feel that it's growing all at once, and everything is affecting everything.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If we overlook one part, it will show up.
So Elena, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So are you saying that when you kept the pillars and the toe in check, that it actually allowed the bars to straighten up?
Like in my way of thinking, what I see now, yes.
Okay.
If I just look, because I always try to think about, it's like architecture or like structure. So if you toe on that side, and you see in the January picture, the medial side of the toe is much longer. That's why he was stripping.
Yeah,
but
it's
if
a lot
that
longer.
side of the toe is longer, what kind of physical forces it will create upon loading? Like, just imagine the foot goes to the ground, the sand goes or the dirt goes into it, and it's a loading and then elevation, and it will be, that will create that shape of the frog because there is more pull. There is a push into the frog on the medial side. I just can't draw it, you know, like you put an arrow, the force, the sand goes on the medial side into the collateral groove, creating this curve in the frog on the lateral side, but because of the lamina, but because of all the laminas are connected, the wall and the sole and the bar, it actually will be pulling the bar out, not pushing. I mean, there will be a push also from the dirt going into the collateral groove, but there will be a pull from the overgrown hoof wall, pulling all the structures medially. So, yeah, anyway, it's just, you know, this, like you look and you think and you have all these thoughts in your mind, and I'm sorry if I'm a bit confusing everybody. I just want to get to the truth of everybody.
I think we're all in the same boat, right? So it's great to hear what your observations. Thanks.
Anyway.
Hey, that makes sense. See, I didn't even notice that the frog was curved till you said something.
No. And you know, the tags in the union points, they're different.
Hey,
like,
I have to leave you for just a second. I'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Okay, I have to go and check our fall as well.
Hi, this is Julia here. I usually don't talk, but since it's quiet, I thought I'd bring up a question. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. In the diagram on that lower left hoof, I just noticed how far back the would have been the medial heel came back, and then how far forward the lateral heel was. It was pretty an amazing movement, I thought. And so then I'm thinking, I wonder if you notch, you know, in the heel quarter on that lateral side, the side running forward, the heel running forward, I wonder if that would have prevented the bulge, you know, that happened on the July 6th picture. And I wonder if anyone's experienced that or has any thoughts about that.
I have a thought. If you look at the, thank you. If you look at the photo on the top right, the bars look like they are really almost up to the tip of the frog. And well, especially on the medial side, but the photo directly below it shows that the apex, no, not the apex, the seat of corn on the top picture looks further back than the bottom picture. And it looks like she had to trim back some of the heel height to compromise or to level it out. Like that bar was just pulling the foot forward.
Right.
And then you know, creating that bend.
You think she lowered the heel on the medial side to bring it back?
Yeah, well, it looks like it. It looks like that was shaved. The heel looks like it's been trimmed, like a fresh trim.
I'd love to ask her when she comes back to see, because that's quite a dramatic change.
Yeah, sometimes what they do is they don't actually take the heel down, but they, like Linda said, it kind of stimulates growth if you just kind of give it a little rasp once.
Well, okay, rasp or whatever, that the heel was addressed to.
Like a reset.
Or yeah, something that you can see that it's been altered and it is further forward than the picture above it.
Well, it is. I have seen Linda's hooves in different stages where one heel will move back and the other one's still stuck, you know. And we were talking about notches, and I'm experimenting with notches on the heel quarters right now.
Oh,
and,
so am I.
And you know, I'm in the same boat. I'm struggling with that, and I'm waiting to see what happens. So just kind of wondering if you know, we're talking about bars right now, and I cannot get my bar straight yet because my hoof, the horse's hoofs, are still too bent. So looking for ways to release, you know, without taking too much period and all of that.
Yeah, I have some round nippers that I use to just take my notch out. It leaves like just a little over a half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, semicircle. And it's not so dramatic that if it's going to, it's nothing that can't grow out in a couple weeks, you know. But it seems sometimes those notches just disappear.
I know. The hoof comes down, you know, it drops down if there's any extra.
Elena is back. We'd like to ask you a question, Elena, regarding your hoof.
I'm here. Yes. Yes.
So
I heard about the,
yeah, sorry. We were just talking about the July 6th picture.
Yes.
And it looks like, comparing it to the one above it, it looks like you had rasped the medial heel. Did you actually reset that at all, or how did you bring that? Like the heel seems to have come back, and we were just wondering if it was a reset that you did, or had you rasped that at all, or?
What do you mean by reset?
Well, taking it down a little bit to bring it back.
Well, what is happening, and that what we were discussing, I always notice that if we look at the whatever, it's not a real heel platform, but I will call it that, heel platform and the heel quarter. I always notice that when I come back, there is no flat surface. They're not flat. The outer rim is sticking out and it's higher. And that was I was battling with. And my horses at home also, it's like you make it flat and then you go after 1 week and the tip of the heel platform is lower than the heel, how you call it, the heel quarter. You know, that's what we are discussing.
Yeah, right in front of the heel.
And then I would just take my rasp and I would bring it to the tip of the heel.
Aha. You know, everything you just said made total sense.
And I just come back and it's bloody there again. Excuse my language.
Okay. Makes total sense.
And then you see in the last picture, I kind of made it like slide into the quarters from the toe quarters. It's like, and I made the quarters lower.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Let me go find that.
Did you bevel the outside wall there in the quarter? Like in
yes,
that?
I will just try to find one view of another hoof and then it will be easier to understand. Maybe.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Everything you just said about, I see. Okay, you know how talk about horn tubules coming back and how you'll bevel it and like in the quarters, say, or the toe there, you know, 2 quarters, how you'll bevel it and you come out a few days later and it will look like your wall has grown and it will be long again and you just keep kind of renewing that bevel until you come out and it doesn't look like your wall has grown, because then your horn tubules have moved back as far as they could. But when it comes to that little area in front of the heel, I have never thought of it in those terms. You know what I mean? And so the way you described it and what you've been going through, that is exactly, I believe, what is happening is that you lower it and then you come out in a little while and what the heck, it's high again.
Yes.
You know, and so you lower it again and then you come back a few days later. Well, there it is. It's high again.
Was that because it was jamming in that area though?
It's because the horn tubules were coming back and they had no room to move. As the horn tubules come back, it seems like the wall grew and took the bevel out.
Oh.
Yes.
See, just like what we do in the front part of the hoof, only because we're so paranoid about heels. All right, we don't want to mess with that part hardly, because we're afraid our heels are going to run forward or something. Do you see what I'm saying? We're not treating it like we normally treat the rest of the foot in that regard. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I sent you some pictures, and this is another foot of the same horse. I think it's the hind.
Okay.
And I think it's like it's the picture in progress.
Just a minute. Clear. Oh.
But you can just draw on it. It's not a pretty one, but we can use it for the discussion and draw on it.
Okay. This minute, I'm just taking a picture
And
of that last one.
I was even thinking maybe in my work, because I always start at the front of the foot. Like I do the frog, I do the bars, and then I go to the toe, because the toe is usually long, and you kind of do it from there. But I decided, like, it's if you're used to do something one way, you always do it one way, right? Because you're comfortable.
Yeah.
If you, it's like you you do everything with the right hand, but if you try to do with the left, then you will have a different perspective. So I decided I will trim from the back, because then I will be more focused. Because in a sense, the heels, when I do the heels, they're the last thing I'm doing almost, But if I start from the heels and I do the heels, maybe it will kind of bring me some new point of view or new different angle on things.
Yeah, break the cycle.
Yeah.
We are creatures of habit. It's like why we always start with the same foot. Why not start with a different foot?
Yeah, I actually do that now.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I need to do that.
Yeah. And it's kind of breaks you because you don't want to do it. You're just so used to things.
Yeah. Now, if I bend way down here and look up at this, like if I'm sitting up looking straight at this foot, you almost can't see that these sides are high.
But they are.
Okay. But if I bend down, like I put my chin on the desk and I look up, you can see it even more that they are.
I think the medial is high, but the lateral is actually okay. And I think because I didn't take the medial, you can see that I took the lateral. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking, this one, but not that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just taking it and giving it room are two different things. See, to give it room, it would have to be beveled or taken down a little lower. And this is the place where they break out and make the.
Yeah, they get stuck together. And it's like, you imagine it, like I imagine the river. Have anybody seen how they transport wood on the river? And then there is like a curvature in the river where it's all gets jammed together, and it's like, ooh, everything comes out, all this big, trees floating, they jam together, and they push out basically and creating big mess. So that's what kind of image I have in my head now, like kind of association with it. Maybe it's not correct, but you know, that's what kind of I see.
And this is Julia. I have a question about this whole subject on having the heel quarter a little higher than the actual back of the heel, you know. And since we're talking about notches, I wonder if notching, for some of us who don't have a lot of height yet, I get a little nervous about taking away height, and I think that was mentioned earlier. But I can take a notch out and still keep some height. So I'm just wondering what anyone's experience with that.
Where would you take the notch? In which place? At the heel quarters?
The notch would be right at that area where it's higher than the actual tip of the heel. Yeah, something like that to help it move, because we're talking about helping it move back, helping the tubules move back. That was something that appealed to me, just because I wanted to try to preserve some of the height and the support back there. I don't know. I've been experimenting with that. I actually, after the last hoof chat, I notched both of the heel quarters. One came out naturally, and I went over and notched the other side. And so, so far so good. I'm watching to see how much movement I get. But also the other idea, I see the arrow moving around on the white hoof, and the idea of that run forward heel with that nubbin there. I'm going to start taking that down. I like that idea. But you can notch there too, like you're suggesting.
So Linda, you say to notch it here, or to take
rather
it out?
Rather than rasp it and bevel it, to notch it is another idea. I'm not saying not to do the other, but for me, because of the way my horse's hooves are, I'm trying the notch right now at that area to see if that will help some movement and relief without losing height, because I'm just starting to get some height I don't want to lose. So that's just my horse.
I found on Dolly that she had notched her own feet, but yet it was still high behind. And after last week's hoof chat, and before I put the shoes on yesterday, I went out and I took off that little hook type thing on there and opened up the collateral grooves. And then I got brave and did the dental impression material and the glue on shoes. So now I have to wait.
I love what you did.
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was beautiful work.
I need to learn that.
Thank you. If I can learn it, you can learn it.
I can't get the glue to stick on. I'm like not motivated to try again right now, because I'd put them on in 2 days, they'd be off again. So I'm just
it's all in doing the prep. It's getting the prep right, and then they stick.
Well, I can testify to the fact that this thing that we have learned in the last 6 months about how you have to have elevation to the back of that foot or the heels contract, and how using that DIM and making like a false, like it's almost like it's support, but really what you're doing is you're making a prosthetic to keep the back of that foot and that hairline up. And it works. You know, I have seen it working on the pony, you know, both on the front and the back foot. I got 2 foot in motion right now. Oh my gosh, it's work intensive. Oh my goodness sakes alive. About kills me. To trim these really severely laminitic feet that are so weirded out and bound is major stuff. And then making it so you can soak it the whole while and have a boot and have the prosthetic and everything. I'm down to doing, I can only do 1 foot in a day. You know, it's just that labor intensive for me, but it is working. It is working.
You know, Linda, I remember when you first talked about, you didn't even want to talk about the pony, Jackie Pony, because you didn't know if it was going to be a success or not, and how wonderful it is that now you can feel successful.
Well, I do feel successful in unbinding the back of the feet, but I've
Yeah.
got a long way to go yet in dealing with when the rotation is clear up into the coronary band and you have a laminar wedge to full length, and dealing with how do you deal with that toe and stuff like that, because when you start to unbind the back of the foot, the toe shoots forward and you can't just make it look like a normal foot because it's not.
Yeah.
But you know, I can show you a picture of one foot that is totally bound in back, causing, and it causes rotation in the foot because, you know, well, I don't want to get into that right now because we were doing this, but anyway, let's go back to Elena. And so in the end, what do you think you need to do to this foot? Hello?
Me?
Yeah.
What I need to do, I really like this idea of trying to bevel or notch the, I just need to go to see the horse and see how the wall at the heel and the heel quarters is at the moment.
You know, you have some good elevation here. You could do, well, look, just see what I took off right there.
Yeah.
That's not a lot. I want to show you something here. Just a minute. Let me undo this here. See how I'm following a growth ring there?
Yeah.
Okay, and then coming down.
Yes.
Okay, I want to just show you something here. Just a second here. Well, let me, oh, wait a minute. Why I think we need to see, and I did this on my last trim. I got back to the end, especially on one side of Valor's foot. He will always have that gap there where the wall is high and you feel like you can't take it off, right in here. And if you do, then the back of the heel is higher and it's like you already have a natural hook there, you know. And when you're looking at it and you got the foot picked up, you're going, that shouldn't be there. I don't want that there. So then you either leave this long wall or you would have to take your heel down, right? And so I keep thinking back, let me see, clear all drawing, thinking back to the original research by Gene Ovnick in Wyoming on the wild horse. Let me look this up real quick here. Okay. A second here. Oh, of course, now I won't be able to find it. This minute. Okay. Now I need to share, new share. Okay. Okay. If you haven't read this, everybody needs to read this and several times and refer to it on occasion and go back. And so he wrote this sometime in the 80s. Okay, he did the research in, well, I just want to show you. First of all, I don't know how many horses he did exactly, but he took board imprints and he diagrammed their feet in Wyoming with BLM on wild horses in 1986 and 87. Okay, he says, I was able to study wild horse feet closely through imprints I had acquired from a 2-year research project done in 1986 and 87. Now, Gene Ovenick, he did not do the barefoot trimming. That was all Jamie Jackson and Hildred Strasser, the natural hoof cure. But what he did develop, he started developing before Jamie Jackson wrote his book published his book in 1991. Okay. And so Gene had already started trying to develop a system of shoeing, of trimming and shoeing based on this research. And that became the natural balance shoeing protocol, which is pretty big now. And also ELPO, has everybody heard of that? Equine Lameness Prevention Organization. That's where you order your DIM here, the big things of it. Okay, Equine Lameness Prevention Organization. Okay, so he actually started and he does all that. That was all from him and his son's named Cody. And so natural balance trimmers, shoers, that's what he got from his interpretation of the wild horse foot that he studied in 86 and 87. Okay, he is totally independent from anything that Jamie Jackson did. He had never heard of Jamie Jackson. Jamie Jackson had never heard of him. Jamie Jackson claims to have studied wild horse feet from 1982 to 1986. Okay, but these two nary know one or the other of each other. All right. And so this paper is on his findings. Now, what I find interesting, and I never really looked at it that much before or considered it, was what he said here. The difference of horses' feet depending on what kind of ground they're on, right here. And if you look at the picture he drew, okay, he shows you here that usually their angles were all the same, but that on soft sand they would develop a hook. And why would that be? Because they're not going to wear their heels off enough in soft sand, right? So their heels are going to get longer and start to run forward. Well, when they start to run forward, the foot bends. When the foot bends, then they haven't got a uniform sole plane. And so the foot bends, and so the capsule bends, and so you got a hollow area here. And so they will chip out there all the time. Then in medium, what do you got? Same thing happens. They don't wear their heels enough, so the heels start to run forward. What happens when the heels run forward? It bends the back of the foot down, the same as if you were trimming the heels out, you know. And so in medium sand, doesn't bend forward quite as much, so you have a little less hook. And then in desert shale and granite, they totally wear them heels so that they're not, well, even though he has this down like that, okay, they wear the heels so that they're not growing so forward that the back of the foot is collapsing and pulling all that forward and bending the foot. Okay. And so, you know, there's a great divine design behind this, in my opinion, in this foot. Okay. And that is that what this does right here in everything you see on how these horses will self-trim, there's there's a really intelligence behind it that we need to utilize. Now, if you want to think it's just because, oh, the foot has intelligence or whatever, personally, I believe God designed the whole thing for a reason and we can learn from it. But you believe what you want. Irregardless, we can learn from what we see here. See, because that's what science is about. Now, me believing in God and believing that ultimately he designed everything we see, okay, doesn't change the fact that if there is a God, he created physical laws, he created structural laws. We're still bound by laws, by physical laws and the laws of nature. In whether there is a God or not, we are bound to those laws. Now, so we're dealing with structures here of the horse's foot. And when it's just a given that when a heel gets long, that it collapses forward and under and it bends the foot. Therefore, the foot is not going to be flat anymore. So the horn is not going to grow down, join up with the sole, and then all be uniform sole thickness all through here. So you could rasp it flat and have a clean white line like you could in this foot. Well, you won't in this foot. And so, you know, that's the same as if you, well, the same thing happens, I noticed. You trim out the heel, it pulls the whole back of the foot down and under. The heels get high and long, and there's a lever here, and it pulls the heel down. Well, that changes the shape of the foot that's supposed to grow, the uniform sole thickness, because it bends the foot, and then you're going to get this gap here, this hollow spot that is not solid. Well, naturally it's going to break out. And so the more bent the foot from the heel growing too long and not wearing down, the bigger the gap you're going to have. And so I really think that we do need to consider more this whole gap theory, you know, and taking that wall out and forming a gap, figuring out how to form the gap properly, because I think what happens when you see a foot going forward, right? And this forward, you know, and to me, they land flat, but then they go in and the toe kind of goes into the dirt for traction. Well, the dirt gets stuck on here, gets pushing this area. What's going to happen? That pressure pushing up here, what's it going to do? It's going to push the heel back up. Does that make sense? That's all I had to say about that. Okay. This is like a new revelation. Okay. Because I've been looking at this thing for a long time. All right. But I always just look at this foot. I'm like, whatever, you know, I'm always looking at this foot here. And but this is a really good article, but I don't agree with his interpretation. Okay. And neither him nor Jamie Jackson truly studied the heel like maybe they should have. As far as measuring them. Now, Jamie Jackson claims to have measured, but how he got 1 centimeter, that every wild horse has a 1 centimeter heel. See, I pretty much know, I think I know how he did that. But we'd have to read about what farriers believe about hoof angle and dorsal wall angle and heel height. But anyway, so this is something I think we need to start considering more. I'm going to start considering more, and maybe we won't be fighting this area as much. So anyway, that's all I had to say on that. Does anybody have anything to add to that?
It makes sense.
Okay. All right, so we're going to take a break,
Linda,
what?
Before you go to the break, I have to say that my Havana, she had one hoof like a little bit club.
Uh-huh.
So a week ago, she had this kind of not, how do you call it? A notch?
Notch? Notch? What were we calling
Notch.
it? A group? Yeah, a notch.
Yes.
That's right, a notch.
A notch. And she has nice feet, nice hoofs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was worried that I had neglected to trim her. Then I saw her hoofs and had nothing. There was nothing wrong except for this small piece that went off, that chipped out.
Uh-huh.
And today I was looking at my mare, and I saw that her hoofs became larger. The kind of club foot went away. I don't know how. And this small piece that missed was not missing anymore because the wall was flat again.
Wow.
And I thought that I was wrong. And I was looking the other feet. And I never saw this chip to any of the feet. So because I doubted if I didn't mistaken the hoof.
Uh-huh.
So in a range of 4-5 days, this chip disappeared.
Wow.
But we never spoke about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't think to make a photograph.
Well, this is really interesting because what if?
Yes, it came and it went away by its own in a range of 3-4 days.
Wow. And the foot looked bigger?
The foot looked more normal.
More normal, yeah.
Yes, not that club it looked to me.
Yeah.
I don't know under the sole view how it was because I didn't pick up the hoof.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw the side way. So now that I see this, it was like the first image.
Mm-hmm.
It went like this, and then after a couple of days, 3-4 days, it was like the third one.
Well, see, that just makes sense, doesn't it? I just realized you're talking about that, and then you started to describe it. I never thought of looking at this as a progression. You know what I'm saying? Of what could happen.
We never talked about it, so I didn't pay much attention of it. I said, okay, it will be a chip. But the hoof changed, I must say.
See, that's really fascinating.
Yeah.
To me.
Next time we'll have photos of it if it happens to some horse, I see.
Well, see, if I was a better drawer, see, if you could make this a progression here. Okay, now he kind of did a little bit here with making the cartilage a little different. But if you could make it a progression, you'd actually have to raise this up. Raise this up. Well, wait a minute. Let's see. Annotate. Let's see. Undo. You would have to raise this up. Probably too much. Raise this up. Bring this down. I mean, that's too much. You know what I mean?
Yes, okay. The difference was not so large, but the hoof changed.
Yeah.
This kind of club now is minimal.
Mm-hmm.
It was more.
Yeah, see, that just
well,
makes
next
sense.
Time we see a horse like this, we know we make a notch. How do you call this chip?
A notch. We've been calling it a notch. Were we calling it
And not.
groove earlier? Because I was thinking when I was calling it a groove, I was thinking how that's not the word we've been
I don't even know the English words,
Mhm.
but I saw it
So-
in my mirror.
So
And I must
there
tell
you
you, I
go.
didn't pay too much attention about it.
Yeah, there you go. See? So
Well,
now I'm going to start experimenting with that more on my horse. Like these natural horses, they don't keep that extra funky wall there just so it'll be level. See what I mean? This is the area we're talking about. We're hanging on to this wall. See? Out of fear that our heels are going to run forward. That's what we're doing. Does that make sense? See, this is that wall that's above the sole. Right below, right? It's either, it can be in the quarter and it can go all the way back to the heel, but we're hanging on to it out of fear that our heels are going to run forward if we cut it out. So no more. Does this make sense to anybody else?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
Linda, wait a moment, because now it comes to my mind something else very, very curious and very similar.
Okay.
Because you see the pictures I sent you about the one villager.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me find another one and I'll show you how this happened to one of these hoofs.
Okay.
Just a minute, I'll send it to you if I find the photograph. A minute.
I'll go there to
Thank you.
find the
Thank you.
photograph. See. You know, self-trimming, the way they self-trim, I know we can learn a lot from that, like how they correct their feet, if we know what the true foot is to begin with. You know, so I could see how that, if we don't break that out, put that notch there, and they can't do it themselves, like horses in the wild move enough to be able to do that, then it can become a place that could become sore because it's supposed to come out, so that when that horse's foot's going down, that that dirt is pushing up into those hooks and pushing the foot back up where it's supposed to be. That makes sense. Okay, let's see.
Linda, while there's a break, can I just ask you a question about this notching?
Sure. The break we haven't gone on?
Sorry?
The break we haven't gone on yet?
Oh yeah, sorry. No, I meant to break in the conversation.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I just want to ask you if so the way I've notched before is I've just kind of angled the hoof knife and taken away the outer horn tubules and then left, I mean obviously with the graduation, but left the white line and the water line, etc., so that I'm not losing too much height, but I'm like allowing space for the tubules to move back. What are your thoughts around that? I mean, should I rather be like actually making more of a like severe notch into like, I obviously you can't go too deep. I just want to understand like what kind of notch are we talking about?
Well, you seen those pictures? You know, you know, I can't tell you exactly because it's something kind of new we're just thinking about. Even though I've been doing it, you know, on occasion. It hasn't been a continual thing I've been doing, but what I've been doing is I'm looking at the side and I'm just following the horn tubule that I'm seeing and taking out some of that wall that's above the sole.
Okay.
See, it's like if you were to rasp that down level with the sole, there would definitely be a hook in your heel to still keep your heel high. You know?
Yeah, sure.
And also, you know, we have to factor in, do we have any elevation to the back of the foot? I mean, you know, taking into consideration that, you know, maybe, you know, they break out in different places. Sometimes they break out in the quarter, they notch the quarters, sometimes they notch the heel area
Linda,
right in front of the heel. Yeah.
Linda, sorry, you
That's
are
okay.
showing the picture I've sent you.
Okay.
And here is what happened to this hoof. You see, naturally.
Oh, that just broke out.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was hollow and it wasn't growing down and connected to the sole in the right place. And so, yeah.
Is this a natural substitute of the notch?
Yeah. Well, see, anywhere where you haven't got a normal wall sole lamina connection that's healthy, it is in danger of just busting out because it's hollow. It's not the real foot.
That looks like a laminar wedge, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it does. It looks like this horse had some because look how the lines, the rings get wider towards the back. So this foot was rotating, so there would have been some laminar wedge in the toe. So that's not quite the same thing as a notch and a self trim. This would be because the toe is dead, because that's what a laminar wedge is.
And I am thinking the mechanical thing could be the same.
It is the
because
same.
If you see the previous picture, you see how much different in 3 months the hoof became.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this one right here.
You see, from the upper small hoof became a huge under hoof.
Yeah. Yeah, from growing the heels, got rid of the laminar wedge, like this. Oops, there's your.
Oops. No, this is my TACT nail, fingernail.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. So this is the same foot.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever you've been doing there and helping those people grow some heel in and release the back of the foot has a, you know, this horse obviously wasn't totally rotated clear up into the coronary band, hopefully, but whatever it was, it sure helped the wall grow. It sure helped the heels expand. You know, all this is dead stuff, just like that wall that grew past the sole in the heel that has no sole connected to it that we're talking about doing a notch. That's basically hoof wall that needs to come off anyway because it's grown past the sole. It should always be in a normal natural environment. The horse would wear all that off one way or the other, or bust it off, you know.
And the funny thing is that the owner was very happy, and he told me, no, this is something that he did it to himself. It's not our fault because he's trimming. And well, I can do my best to help him. But I mean, he's very, very happy because the horse is very sound. And he said, never mind about this cut, how can I say, this damage. The horse did it by himself, and now he's more healthy than he was.
Well, good. Yeah. So, you know, who knows how many things horses could straighten out on their own, you know, if given a chance, but just aren't in the right environment, don't have the right movement, and you know, stuff like that. This is what I find interesting about how how the track system came along, how when these trims didn't work, okay, and I know this from now reading the history and just seeing what happened, you know, when the trims didn't work, then they started looking for other excuses, you know, so it became, well, the environment is not natural enough, you know. Now I'm all for improving the environment of the horse, getting them to move through different things, you know, setting up a track system. I think it's great. Okay. But from what I'm seeing, the ultimate origins and purpose for it was because some of these trims weren't working out the way they insisted they should. And so then if you couldn't blame it on diet, okay, but we're going to add that to it, okay, then it's because they're just not getting enough natural movement. And so you need to haul in tons and tons of pea gravel. You need to make a system where they're going to have to move a whole bunch and trim their own feet so that nature can take its course and trim your horse's feet for you. And anything so that you don't have to blame the fact that you're trimming the heels out of all these horses. Okay. And so we're going to look at that. We're going to look at the history of that. We're going to look at this guy next by the name of Henry Hammerling, and the history of heel height and frog pressure. See, it wasn't just Bracy Clark back in the 1800s. Henry Hammerling, just inducted into the International Farriers Hall of Fame. He wrote some amazing historical things so we can understand more about this and why all our horses were going lame and crippled in barefoot trims. Okay, and again, when we talk about barefoot trimming, we're not talking about trimming a horse so he can go without shoes. That's wonderful, you know, and that's a given. We're talking about specific beliefs based on things that cause you to do certain things to the foot based on certain people's interpretation, and how this affects the foot in a negative way, why it's why some horses seem to do okay with it and why others go into states of mechanical laminitis that they blame on what the horse ate. You're going to find it's not what the horse ate, it's the trim, and that horse could not adapt to that trim because that is not the way his foot is made. So we're going to go into that in the next hour, but we're going to take a 15-minute break here, and I'm going to end this YouTube broadcast, and we'll start again here in 15 minutes. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
That's great. Yeah,
okay.
that's great.
Okay, people, so take a break, and we're going to do an hour on the history and on Henry Hammerling, and then we'll do 1 hour after that. If anybody wants any kind of a hoof evaluation or anything like that, I'd be glad to help you there. Okay.
Sounds good.
Let's see. 4